So everybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge Jim Morrison fan. I'm a Doors fan, but more so a Jim Morrison fan. I really respect him as a poet. That is what he thought of himself as, and that's what I admire about him, is his poetry, his philosophy, some of his concepts. And I collect a lot of Jim Morrison type things that people that know me have seen me post pictures of, or have actually seen some of these things. I have a lot of books about Jim Morrison, but the granddaddy of all books is, there's two books that Jim Morrison published of his poetry that he self-published. And the most famous is American Prayer. And he later, well, he published it in 1970, self-published it at the prodding of another poet, and he had 500 copies of it printed. And later in at the end of 1970, for his birthday, December 8th, he went into a recording studio and recorded a lot of poetry from American Prayer. The book really meant a lot to him. It was what he really wanted, was a book with his name on it, of his poetry. And he gave many, many of them away. Most of them he gave away, but nobody knows today how many of them still exist, how many of them have been destroyed, how many got lost, how many, so how many there really are is really unknown, but they're very, very rare to come across. And I got one. I managed to find one that was for sale, and the story behind this particular book, this copy, is that after he received his shipment of the books, that he went down to Barney's Beanery on Santa Monica Boulevard, near the Doors workshop, near Alta Cienega Motel, where he lived quite a bit for over 3 years' time, and was celebrating. And he gave this copy to one of the staff members at Barney's Beanery. And it's a really cool thing for John and I, because living in LA when we did, Barney's Beanery was one of our favorite places that we would go to and walk that whole neighborhood, Jim's footsteps. So I'm about to open it. All I've done is unseal it. I'm about to open it. And this is just really cool. I mean, Jim took this copy. It meant the world to him, down to Barney's, and gave it to a staff member, and now it's mine, and I'm just so excited. And American Prayer, it's kind of the size of a prayer book, and I want to thank this guy for really packaging this well and shipping it to me. And I hope this isn't going to take too long to get this open. It's really packaged well. And I'm really nervous. I've been waiting with bated breath for this to come in the mail, watching the tracking every hour to see where it was. And it is. It's like a little prayer book. This is amazing. Okay, here we go. Here it is. An American Prayer. Jim Morrison. And I'm going to open it. Really nice paper. And here it has in the beginning, the James Douglas Morrison, copyright 1970, all rights reserved. And here it is. Do you know the warm progress under the stars? Do you know we exist? Have you forgotten the keys to the kingdom? Have you been born yet, and are you alive? And it's mine now.